We've called the meeting to order, and I don't know what time it is, but
3:19.
yeah, I need to know it. 3:19. All three commissioners are present, and we have minutes of the meeting of last week, the 21st of June. I'm waiting for him to finish reading them. There's not much there, but those are the things we talked about.
Looks good to me.
Motion to approve?
Seconded.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, no. Motion carries by unanimous vote. And
Can I just ask, what was the meeting date again?
that was the 21st.
6/21.
As stated in there, the bills were gonna go out for the second signature, which was done, and the bills have been put in. Now, one of the items on that list was that we received a communication from Roger E. Wheeler and Sons indicating a raise in the cost of grave opening from $300 to $400, effective June 15th. And that is a large percentage raise, but it also is a long time since that has changed. And considering all the inflation that's occurred even in the past year, it may well be reasonable. It may be sensible to accept.
Before you go further, Barry, I'm gonna recuse myself
Yes,
From
you're
this-
recusing yourself on
from
this
this
issue,
discussion.
since you're related to the contractor. Do you think we should, Brenna, do you think we should continue to employ them to do this?
I did some research online,
Yeah.
and we are well below the regional average for Worcester County, and I think, what are we moving from to, how much to how
Well,
much?
the amount that they're charging is going from 300 to 400.
Yeah, and looking at the amount that surrounding towns in our county and Middlesex are charging the families for
Well-
burials, we're well below, so I think we
Well below
certainly.
some. Now, I did a little bit of figuring here. Until a couple of years ago, Wheeler was charging us 300. We were paying Guild 100
Mhm,
for his work
right,
preparing, locating and preparing the grave, and then finishing it afterwards.
right,
And we were paying Wheeler $100 for the use of the truck to put the dirt in while it's out of the hole,
right,
and which is a total of $500.
yeah,
Again, about 2 to 3 years ago, we got the town to keep one of their older, smaller dump trucks, the 1-tons,
on site,
at Highway, so they'd have it, and we would use it when we needed it, and they would use it the rest of the time. And so it would be a shared vehicle. And since that's happened, we don't have the charge for the use of the truck.
Right, so it knocked the
But
cost.
Mr. Guild is going and getting the truck and taking it to use it and doing all of that, so his charge has gone up to 150.
Right,
So therefore, it's been costing us 450 each time in recent times.
right, down from 5.
Now, if we take the new $400 figure with the 150, it's 550. So we're only $50 up from what we were doing 3 or 4 years ago.
Perfect.
So in terms of what our costs are.
Yep,
Now, the other thing I've got here is we got papers from Lancaster and Clinton for what they're charging, the town of
So
Lancaster and the town
Lancaster,
of
town
Clinton
of
for what they're
Lancaster.
charging. And we're, in the opening charges, we're above them.
okay,
We've been charging 800 as our standard fee
mm-hmm,
for some years now, several years now.
right,
And we've been, but we do increase that to 900 on a Saturday. And we also increase it if we have other expenses in the winter. If we have to do snow plowing or
right, right,
they
right,
have to do, jackhammering, frost and those things.
right,
We pass on those costs to the people over the 800. So it's very common to go 900, sometimes even as high as 1,200 for a serious deep winter burial.
mm-hmm,
At some points, we say, no, we won't do it at all, and we put them in the tomb and do it in the spring.
right,
But we haven't had that happen for, oh gosh, more than 10 years now, or about that. We had one winter about 10 years ago that we had about 6 of them piled up in there.
we had such a hard freeze that
Yeah, it was such a hard freeze, and once you stop, we don't do any more
Right.
until
Until it
about
thaws.
April. yeah.
Right.
But most of the time, we don't have to do that nowadays, and most people prefer to have the burial done promptly rather than having it wait. We did have one wait this year, but the funeral director kept the remains, so that
Yep.
we didn't have to deal with that. We had one burial this spring that was held from the winter.
mm-hmm, I remember that.
But it saves the people money, so. At any rate, I mean, they're talking about a weekday full burial at 450 in Clinton. And, but they also play with the time of day because of what the workday of their staff is, so sometimes it gets up to 600. And their
Right.
weekend is 600, ours is 9. I don't know.
I honestly, the sampling, I mean, I don't hold on to numbers real well, and I pulled up something on my phone that had
Yeah,
much more regional numbers. I think,
oh, they were in excess of
there-
$1,000.
yeah, there was one, I think it was Stoughton was like $3,200
Yeah.
just for, I mean, we don't need to go there.
Obviously not.
But I think we have more than competitive, just looking at these two, it doesn't look good, but not very far away from us. I think Sudbury and Stowe and Hudson would be, if we really wanted to contend with this, we could look, farther east, but I think it's very reasonable to go ahead with this, honestly, without having looked at a list that had probably 20 towns on it. We're quite low compared to, 15 looked like the mean.
Hmm?
1,500 was the.
1,500 looked like to me.
Yeah, was the mean, and
Yeah.
and we're so considerably below that. So at 9, so I'm comfortable
With what?
with with
Putting it up to 100?
putting it up to 4 and charging the customers. Not
9.
9, yeah, that makes sense to me. And if we, should we look at administrative costs? Is there something between what
Oh.
we're paying and what we're charging that should we up to $1,000 for?
Not
Not yet.
Not too much, no.
No.
There's a little bit that's in the time of the superintendent, but not an awful lot, and we're paying the superintendent a flat rate, that's covered in the flat rate that
Right.
we pay him, so.
This is one of those things that if that arrangement changes, that we need to look at all these things. That we need to really
Yeah.
look at the itemization.
And again,
Down the road.
we have not increased this or changed this in a long time.
Yeah.
Um, we, okay, so
I'm good.
You're making a motion to go
I'm
with
making a motion
900
to-
as our base rate.
To go with 900 as our base rate and 400 for the opening.
And the 400
And the-
is what we're paying out to,
Yep.
to Wheeler.
Two-wheeler.
And the rest of our rules stay the same. We kick on another 100 for a Saturday.
Right.
And the 300 is our amount for cremated remains, and that goes to 350 on Saturday, and that is, our cost there is not increased from what it was, so I think we're all right with that.
Yep.
Okay, so we motion to increase the full burial base cost to 900, which is seconded. And all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have two to nothing vote. And we have, and we also move to accept the increase as proposed to 400 from Wheeler.
Exactly.
Second,
I second that indeed.
in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 2-0 for that. So we've done both of those things. Okay. All right, I'm gonna find him and get him back in here so he can join us for whatever else we can do. Okay. Now. We voted to increase to 900 and to accept the 400 proposal.
Okay.
And, oh, we did have one more thing to do, didn't we? And I guess you gotta go for that one too.
I recuse myself again.
Yeah, I forgot. We haven't done the other thing yet, so as soon as I get that done, I'll call you back again.
Okay. Bye.
We have, before us a, proposed contract for the cemetery superintendent services by Mr. Guile, who was a member of this board. That has been understood and carried out last year. But it's time to do a new annual contract. I move that we approve hiring of Mr. Guile for another year as cemetery superintendent.
I second the motion.
Motion made and seconded to continue our service with Mr. Giles as superintendent. He is dealing with the town administrator in regard to any other documents he has to produce and so forth, which she handles for us. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have a 2-0 vote, and that is approved. Okay. Now, those are the major things, those are the things we had to do today, I think. And I can again say.
Another year, the year from when to when?
Uh,
From June?
Yeah, that's approved.
June.
In the very top line, the top line is a blank
to
to put in the
June
27th or whatever date that you put on the bottom of the thing.
27.
Yeah, you
23.
wanna do that on both copies of that. Oh, I've got the other one here.
Okay.
And we'll make a copy of that to put in our file
Yep.
after the meeting. Okay, those were the things that we had to postpone. Is there any other business that has come up in the time since the meeting, or that anybody else wants to bring?
I have something.
Okay,
I ran into Jim Spinney this morning as he was working on Sawyer Hill. He was dealing with the flash flooding.
the what?
The flash flooding
Oh.
on Sawyer Hill. They've been working on striping the road on both sides, and,
Oh.
you know. So I stopped by to congratulate him on the nice job of road striping, and he said, "Hey, Brenna, I would love to meet with you at the North Cemetery. When can we make a time?"
Hmm.
And I don't know why. I wanted to see if anyone had any ideas about what he might be wanting to meet about. Is it?
Can't answer it. There are always a variety of things.
I wonder if it's the plantings for the marker for the the cemetery.
No, I don't think so.
Well, we'll see. Or could be.
He
the-
has issues about how well its gravestones are lined up in some places. He has issues about other stuff like
Well,
that
we'll find
every
out.
so often.
I'll bring a
and you can
notebook.
see what you want, but I have no idea.
So it's not an issue that has been discussed among the group, and I missed because I missed the
No,
meeting.
no.
Okay. All right.
No, and he always has some bright idea like that he's concerned about. I don't mean that there's there's never any concern about any of them, but some of them I'm not concerned about. Some of them I am.
I understand, and I
And his family has a lot there and so forth that he owns part of them. That's part of the deal there. Yeah, I don't know what he's got in his head.
so I should take good notes.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what this is about at the moment.
All right.
Um,
I'll pick a time and go up there. Do you have any interest in being part
I'm
of this?
dealing with another one now. I think I put in a call to you about cremated remains in a lot at the South Cemetery, and I've been looking up the lot and so forth. I think that's gonna work all right.
For Elmer Wheeler,
Yeah, yeah.
he's going in the same lot as Elmer Lewis, right?
Yes, but
Oh.
the grave is with George Lewis. They'll go with George Lewis's grave. I'm gonna pull the record here and read that lot here to see if it agrees with what I've got in my book.
So is this just a matter of there's an open spot and the family said okay to put him there, or is there
Yeah,
some
kind of,
relationship between
kind
Elmer
of.
Lewis?
It'll be on top of a previous, an ancestor.
Okay.
You'd be putting him on top of his grandfather or something.
Is that his
Oh.
wife? His wife too, you said, or is it just Elmer Wheeler?
Both of them.
Okay.
It's got your two sets of ashes. Tom Como. And he provided me with these sheets from the other two towns.
Cool.
And
Cool. Very cool. So that's my friend Cindy Kavanaugh's uncle. Cindy Kavanaugh is a friend of mine,
yeah,
and that's her uncle, Uncle Elmer.
Elmer Wheeler,
Yeah.
That was up on Lancaster Road.
Lancaster Road.
Just passed
Yeah.
away in
So she-
April.
Yep.
Okay. His wife passed away a few years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
I went by the house and I saw shingles on the roof laying over, and then I went by another time and he was up on the roofing.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
in his obituary, 91 years old.
Yeah.
He was a carpenter all his life, and he was up and he's still roofing at 91.
Fred Crockett, my mother was driving to Tohoto one day when she was working over there, and Fred Crockett in his 90s was up on his roof. He'd cut a branch off a tree, a limb off a tree, and he was lowering it down with a rope in his 90s.
Yeah. He heated his house with wood, and he used to collect pallets
Yeah,
and break up the pallets for heat.
yeah.
And his niece thought he was stark raving bonkers, but she was like,
Hey,
"Hey, get
He used to be out not that long ago. He was still out splitting wood.
yeah."
yeah.
Yep, and then he got tired of that and started breaking up the pallets.
Well, he could probably get them for nothing, so.
Yeah,
Well, you go,
precisely.
and a lot of them are oak and maple.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good wood.
Okay, I think whatever else we had to deal with, we already did, and the year-end forms, I gotta make sure we've got all of that stuff done with the accountant, but other than that, I think we're all set. And we're hopeful we can get a couple of the jobs done that we want to in the next fiscal year.
Anything more on the driveways or
Not yet,
not yet?
not yet. Motion to adjourn?
Seconded.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.